Welcome to Social Studies class. I am going to point to different parts of the map, the world. I want you to say stop when I point to our country. Stop. There we are. The purple one is our country. And what is the name of our country? The United States of America. Now, if we go north, is this way north? No. This way? No. This way? No. North is up on the map. If we go north, who is our neighbor to the north that we learned about last time? Do you remember? Canada. All right, good job. And we're going to keep learning about Canada today, but before we do, so here's the United States, and the ocean that's on the east side, that touches the east, is called the Atlantic Ocean. Can you say that with me? Atlantic Ocean, okay? And the Atlantic Ocean touches our country, the United States, and it also touches Canada too. And on the west side of Canada and the United States, we have the Pacific Ocean. Can you say Pacific Ocean? Pacific Ocean. And for Canada, on the north, this ocean up here is very cold water, and it is the Arctic Ocean. Say Arctic Ocean? Arctic Ocean. All right, there we go. So today we are going to continue learning about Canada. So last time we had this picture, and Victoria, in our imagination, she had taken us to different places, and we got to go to Toronto, the very big city in Canada, and see the CN Tower. That's really, really tall. And we learned about Canadian Mounties, right? Which are what their police officers are sometimes called because they used to be mounted on horses. And do you remember what this cool place was? Niagara Falls. Remember, Canada shares Niagara Falls with the United States. All right, so we were more in the cities, talking about cities in our last video. Now, today, Victoria is going to take us to visit her grandfather, who is a fisherman. And he lives in a fishing village that's on the Hudson Bay. And there are lots of fishing villages along the shores of the oceans and rivers in Canada. So there's lots of little villages. Villages are like little towns where people live there and they go out to the lakes or oceans to catch fish and sell the fish. And Victoria's grandpa said he's going to take us out on his boat. And his grandpa said, watch carefully, because yesterday when he was going out to his favorite fishing spot, he saw whales. So maybe if we watch out, we can see some whales. Do you hear that loud honking sound? Remember, we have to use our imaginations. It's coming from some birds that are flying over us. Those are Canada geese. And sometimes we actually get to see Canada geese here. Grandpa is excited later on tonight to show us the beautiful northern lights called the Aurora Borealis. I think we've talked about those before. I showed you a picture where it was all colorful, like purple and blue in the sky. It was really cool. We can't see the northern lights here in Oregon. Now, winter is very cold in Canada. In the Rocky Mountains, here's a picture of the Rocky Mountains. It's pretty cool. The Rocky Mountains are in the United States too. But in the Rocky Mountains, the snow can be as deep as 240 inches. Now, how big is that? That's about as tall as a 2-story building, like a building with an upstairs. The snow can get that deep. They get a lot of snow in some parts of Canada. In the northern parts of Canada, so northern means up, so these parts up here, because it's colder up there. The northern parts of Canada are so cold that hardly any people live up there. Like it's so cold, no one wants to live there. Now, the Native Americans, the people that were there first, they're called the Inuits, and they used to live in igloos. And igloos are houses made out of snow. That seems like it'd be pretty cold, but it blocks you from the wind and lets the heat from your body stay in there and warm you up. Now, plants can't grow in these super duper cold, icy places. And so if plants can't grow and it's super cold, that's why no one really wants to live there, because you have to be able to grow some plants so you can have some food and things like that. Some of the large Arctic islands, the islands that are way up here, are like always covered in ice. Even during the summertime, the ice doesn't melt. One of Canada's favorite animals is the beaver. Now, we don't have a picture of the beaver on here, but the beaver lives in the forests of Canada, and when people first came to Canada, they often came because they were trying to trap beavers so that they could get the beaver fur, because the beaver fur was very, very beautiful and it was very warm. So they would trap them to get their fur and to sell it. Now, polar bears live in the Arctic regions of Canada. The Arctic regions means the places way north where it's really cold. So they have polar bears there. And all summer long, the polar bears live and they play near the water. And as the weather begins to get colder, they wait for the water to freeze, and then they hunt for seals and fish by walking on the pieces of ice. So you can see here that this polar bear is out on the pieces of ice looking for seals and fish to catch for his lunch. Another animal that you want to watch out for if we're visiting Victoria in Canada is a very large animal. You know what this animal is called? This is a moose. Yeah, you might recognize it because of his antlers. You see his crazy big antlers? They're really cool. You know his antlers can be up to 6 feet wide. Now, I can't even really quite show you on my video, but if your dad stretches his arms out, that's about how wide, how long, from one antler all the way to the other antler. That's pretty big, 6 feet. Something interesting about a moose is that God made his feet really interesting. He made his feet so that they were kind of like snowshoes. Snowshoes are things that you strap onto your shoes to help you walk in the snow so you don't just sink down. And God made the moose with like little snowshoes on his feet so that he can walk in the snow better. That's pretty cool. All right, so Victoria, she enjoys doing a lot of the same kinds of things that we do. In the spring and summer, Victoria and her friends, they like to play outside, and they like to play soccer, they like to play football. And in the winter, though, they might do some things that we don't get to do because we don't get very much snow here. But they like to go sledding and snowmobiling and ice skating when the ponds freeze, and skiing. Maybe you guys can get to go skiing sometime because we can go to the mountains to do those things. And one of the favorite sports in Canada that we don't play very much here is ice hockey. Okay, this is a picture of them playing ice hockey. They have to wear ice skates and they have hockey sticks, and you can see back here they're trying to get this, they don't have a picture of the puck. It's a little round thing that slides on the ice, and they use their sticks to hit it, and they try and hit it into this net, kind of like a soccer net, except it's a lot smaller than a soccer net. So that's one thing that they really like to do. And tonight, in our imaginations, Tori is gonna take us to a hockey game where we get to cheer for her favorite team. All right, so that is all that we're going to learn about Canada today. Actually, a few interesting things. So a lot of people in Canada speak English like we do, right? But sometimes they use different words. Okay, so instead of calling, what do we call that paper thing that we use at lunchtime to wipe our mouths? A napkin, right? They might call it instead a serviette. Okay? Or instead of saying that they need to go to the bathroom or the restroom, they say they need to go to the washroom. They call it the washroom. And instead of maybe calling their shoes like tennis shoes, you know, like tennis shoes that you use to like play outside or whatever, they might call them runners. That makes sense because you run in them. Anyway, those are just a few interesting things that even though they speak English, they use some different words than we do. So I hope you enjoyed learning about Canada, and in our next lesson, we're going to start learning about Mexico. So maybe we will learn some Spanish words along with our lesson about Mexico.